败部冠军目前打了2局，已经打成1比1平手。第二场由皇族拿下胜利。
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to game number 3 here in the LPL playoffs lower bracket finals. You can see the MVP of game 2 is Korn. His Orianna didn't have the strongest individual performance, but he solo killed Cool early on, and he was instrumental in continuing that pressure mid, which not only prevented Cool from roaming, kept keeping his pressure off the map, but was just so key to have that strength where Cool was weak to help shore up Starhorn's early game. Though the game actually took quite a while to finish things off, with not one but 2 Barons going over to OMG. Inevitably, it was Starhorn Royal Club that came out with a Game 2 win. So coming into Game 3, what do OMG now need to do to bring things back now that it's tied up to 1-1?
Well, it's not like the entire team of OMG got crushed. Their bottom lane was still doing incredibly well. We had 9-4 or Kog'Maw in the end for Sun. That was really great. Data7 had some ups and downs, but then hit some vital hooks. So the bottom lane is still okay. However, Cool got completely shot down in the middle lane. The next game, he needs to watch out for the Korn 1v1 potential.
Well, the other thing that OMG really need to watch out for is just Korn's Orianna. It won a 1v1 versus Cool, who either didn't respect it or wasn't ready for the damage. It's not often that you get to see those 1v1 kills so early on, just because of the way that the lane phase works out. Usually it's just passive farming, especially top lane, mid lane. That's what you see, but Korn really showing his dominance on that champion. And it's a champion, like I said, that is 100% for him here in the playoffs. Every time Korn has gotten Orianna versus OMG, they win the game. So maybe a big pick to take away, because now coming into game number 3, there's some very hard choices that OMG have to make. Traditionally, they'll ban out Yasuo, Fizz, and then another maybe takey top laner like Maokai or Alistar, because they don't want to give it away. But now here in game number 3, they do have first pick, which will give them the ability to put maybe a little bit more pressure on the bans.
Yeah, and they had to ban Maokai in the previous game to not give it away to Starhorn. That's why Korn got his Orianna. So now that they have the first pick, they can switch the bans by a little bit. And maybe, as you said, maybe some Alistar or Maokai will slip through for them. That would be a great thing to see. Well, I do not really expect that, but still, I am waiting for Vayne and Braum for Starhorn in the bottom lane. These are the champions that they are so great at, yet we didn't get to see them too much.
That's right. Braum is going to be a big pick no matter how you want to look at it. He's been absolutely massive for Data7. He's transformed Data from a player who everyone was doubting coming into the finals after he replaced Cloud. But he's transformed it into a strength in the bottom lane that complements Sun, keeps his weak laning phase a little bit less apparent, and as the takey initiation, something that Dada's actually really good at. So whether it's Braum, whether it's something like, you know, Leona or another big takey support that just goes in for the initiations, I've yet to see, but Braum will be a big pick for OMG. It'll be a big pick for Starhorn too. We just got a chance to see how strong that was. So there's a lot of OMG fans in the audience. They want to see a game 3 comeback.
Yeah, they definitely want to see OMG winning, and now it's much closer than it was in the first best of 5, because it was, first of all, Starhorn completely destroying OMG for the first 2 games, and then OMG completely destroying Starhorn in the following 3. Now we have one game won by Starhorn, the other game won by OMG, so it's not like these teams just figure out the comps of one another and destroy in each game. They just go for the close games, and it really comes down to the individual performance.
Well, speaking of individual performance, one thing that's for sure is that Insect's got to step up his smite game. He lost the Baron, and that kind of changed a game that was kind of snowballing really hard for Starhorn, and really put a stop to that. And not only did it put one stop to that, but OMG were able to take that lead from stealing the Baron and take another Baron off the back of that, continue to defend their base for even longer, and draw out the game for another 15 to 20 minutes. So Insect is in charge of the smite. He's got to be better at securing those dragons. But for OMG, they've got to either protect their mid lane because Cool got absolutely massacred from all that early pressure, or at least put him on a champion whose pressure or whose individual lane phase is maybe more prominent, a champion that's not almost solely based on his early game roam potential.
Yeah, and actually talking about Insect Smites, I mean, at least I noticed that when he's overconfident, he just doesn't smite the dragons at all, doesn't smite the barons at all. So that might have been the case. He didn't even go for the smite right there because I saw that he had it available after it happened.
It's true, he didn't even get the chance to. He was waiting and waiting and waiting, and well, Drug just got to it first. So OMG come into this match as maybe the favorites after their early reverse all kill versus Starhorn in the upper bracket, but after both losing their series, come in here to picks and bans for game number 3. OMG, Orianna, Fizz, 2 bans right towards Corn, and there's 2 bans towards Going. Another very clear focus for both teams.
No Alistar, no Maokai slipping through, the same story of the game as it was in the first one. Orianna, Fizz, and Yasuo banned out by OMG. 3 bans for the middle lane, 3 bans for the top lane.
Same bans as in game number 1. OMG, they're taking away Cool's champion pool. And, or they're taking away Corn's champion pool. But Starhorn really focusing Going. And is this just like deja vu? Going's gonna grab that, but oh, I don't think that was the right pick for Going. He needed to secure the first pick Braum like OMG did in game 1 for Dada 7. It worked out so well, but instead, he grabs his Jax just to make sure he has a good champion for top lane.
Yeah, now Zero gets his undefeated Braum. So Dada 7 will have a tough time in the bottom lane, so yep, we have the Braum. Maybe we'll get to see the Vayne, but most probably it's going to be Lucian again, since the Line Slinger passive gives you a lot easier procs on the concussive blows.
Now for OMG, they can either go for the late game hyper carry with something like Tristana or more likely a Kog'Maw. That seems what San has been really focusing on this series. But keep in mind, Cool actually played an incredibly strong AP Kog'Maw in their earlier series versus Starhorn Royal Club. I believe that was actually in game number... is that game 1? That was actually game 2. Where Cool played an AP Kog'Maw that did really, really well. So can't count that out just yet. Starhorn Royal Club still don't know the exact duo lane they're going up against, but with a lock-in on Ziggs for the mid lane, Cool's going right back to it, and this is so similar to game number 1, with the exception of that Braum pick.
Yeah, that was game 2 indeed, and that was an interesting performance, but still, we won't get to see it in the middle lane anymore, since Drug picks out this Ziggs. Oh, and well, we have some juggling coming out from UZI, and once again seeing this Varus is nice. Unsettling.
If he wants to go for the hyper carry contest, he can just pick up a Tristana, but more likely than not, it will be a Lucian. If he goes for Vayne here, that's a pretty bold move. Vayne, Lucian, what's it going to be? So lock it on Lucian.
Yeah, so just as I said, just going for the easier procs and the concussive blows right here, and well, we have seen an Annie in the playoffs already, so maybe Dada 7 will go for this support now that this Braum got taken away from him. They still need a jungler.
Right, so Annie will most likely not be the pick here. If it is, then it would be support Annie, but you can't go for support Annie when Thresh is still up. And, you know, Dada 7, he was traditionally known as a Thresh player beforehand. Maybe not one of the upper echelon, but with as good as his performances have been on Braum so far, was Jax an important enough champion to keep him off, to prevent Dada 7 from getting Braum this game?
Well, Zero will definitely have an impressive performance on this Braum. As we saw in the previous game on Nami, he hit almost every single bubble, and sometime in the game he even had a 3-man bubble. Definitely on point today, but Insect, still a little bit of doubts in my head. This guy
has yet to prove himself just yet. Last lock-in will be a Shyvana, actually, versus Going. Traditionally, you want an Irelia versus the Jax matchup, but Starhorn actually were forced to ban it out against Going to keep him off one of his main champions, and certainly the one he's been playing most, especially off of their previous game versus EDG. So The Ryze pick mid for Corn, though, could be just as huge as his Orianna, even though that was banned out. Ryze actually has some interesting statistics. I believe he was actually banned 3 out of 5 of the games earlier in their first best of 5 for Starhorn. And the ones that he wasn't actually banned out, he was picked. So, SHRC, they actually lost their game versus OMG's Yasuo. But with Yasuo banned away from Cool, this should actually set up a very, very strong mid lane once again for Cool, or for Corn rather.
When we had Cool picking up Ryze, he completely destroyed Corn in the lane the previous time. So maybe Corn is going for the same outplay right here, but we'll get to see that in the game.
So let's go ahead and hop into game number 3, Starhorn Royal Club versus OMG. Game 3 here in the Summer LPL playoffs, brought to you in English on Twitch TV.
每天睡个饱，还有燕窝蜂蜜柚子茶，蜂蜜带来健康，柚子带来美丽，健康美丽喝小优，燕窝蜂蜜柚子茶。
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the LPL finals, or not the finals, but the playoffs. Finals are tomorrow, and one of these teams will be there to face off against Edward Gaming. Who's it going to be? We're tied up at 1-1. We're out onto the rift for game 3.
Well, we are in the lower bracket finals, but tomorrow is going to be the grand finals, the big thing, the big decider, which will tell us who wins the playoffs right here, who gets the first place for LPL Summer 2014. But there we go with a pause to start the game. Not the thing that we were really willing to see.
Okay, so a little bit of an anticlimax. If you guys were watching the games yesterday, you know that there was a very anticlimactic pause top lane right as, I forget who it was that was about to die, but an early pause this time around, not going to impact all that much. Don't think we'll have anything crazy like a restart, but it's a little bit of a slow way to start the game. Apparently Cool's been too busy beating up on nerds. He's got a band-aid on his arm, so maybe some scattered spoils of war there. After really pulling his team together. Very instrumental in their comebacks in the previous best of 5 in the upper bracket versus Starhorn. We'll see if he can continue to have a very strong performance here. Game number 3 versus Starhorn.
And it just goes back and forth, back and forth. So we'll get to see if the blue side wins again. That was the case throughout this whole best of 5 series. Game gets on pause, and there we go, the first minute of the game. No big invades as of yet, no lane swaps too.
Zero now, he's on the Braum, Dada on, of course, his Thresh. It's a double ignite bottom lane with heals on the AD carries, so this is going to be very, very aggressive, and already, again, this is the same thing that San and Dada 7 did previously. They went into those brushes very early on. They're not quite as aggressive this time around, but oh, there's first blood. Not quite, but it's Zero able to get the hit off on to Dada 7s.
So going on Jax and San on Kog'Maw in this game. That might be the great impact with Starhorn not really being able to close the games out really quickly. The late game is going to hurt them a lot, especially with Dada 7 on Thresh. The picks potential is there.
Zero, he's 3 for 3 on Winter's Bites on San, so San once again not the most mobile of AD carries. Of course, his champion choice is not going to help him out there, but even in game number 1, he was getting hooked by Zero's death sentences when he was playing Thresh over and over again. So really something to keep an eye on as that lane progresses, but a very early, this is a level 2 gank from Drug. This is super ahead of schedule. He doesn't even have a blue buff. This is gonna be very dangerous for UZI. Where's the standard combo? Gets the knockup. The red buff's down. They force out the flash, and UZI stays alive, but a level 2 gank from Drug, not something you expect to see.
They forced out both flash and heal, and that's because they weren't expecting him. And that's great for OMG, but, well, Drug is going to be a little bit behind on the jungling, and Insec was going for the tiny invade.
That's true, and that's a really good realization by Insec. Anytime you go for a level 2 gank, and that's why a lot of junglers don't do it, you really risk losing your third or your second buff. And so you can see Insec thought about stealing it away from Drug, but instead decided just to take his own blue buff, not go for anything too crazy there. Going actually forced to teleport back to this top lane after Cola definitely winning out that lane matchup early on. We'll see what Going decided to buy on his way back to top.
Yes, they got the blue buff steal right there, and as I said, Drug will be set a little bit behind in the jungle, but we'll get to see if Insec can pull off some nice ganks a little bit early on in the game, because that's what he lacks. He just goes for the early aggression, but cannot really pull it off successfully. Was the story of the previous game, so let's hope that this time around it works. And there he goes for the bottom. And falls back.
So the 3-buff start for Insec, gonna set him very far behind. The level 2 gank was a nice way to try to come back from that. I think I incorrectly identified that early on, so apologies for that. But Insec, with the early buff advantage, Drug without a successful gank down bottom. I guess he blew 2 summoner spells, but still no kills just yet. Insec still looking very strong, continuing to actually bully Drug out of his own jungle again and force him away from Raze.
Yeah, he forced 2 summoner spells down there in the bottom lane, but OMG is pushing, so they don't have a lot of kill potential. So it doesn't really impact UZI too much. He'll just get the summoner spells back in a couple of minutes and he'll be okay. Insec once again looking for the aggression down the bottom lane.
Now this time it's his turn. He doesn't have a red buff, but he does have a Tempest into the cripple, into the Bromstun, and Dada 7. He's trying desperately to throw the death sentence back around. The health potion narrowly saves his life. Dada will get out of there alive.
Well, and this time around it was a little bit better by Insec than by Drug, but still no kill goes down. Dada 7 is forced to lose a little bit of experience, so he had to back away to the base.
San's still in a little bit of a rough spot. Does dodge out that Winter's Bite. That's the first one he's dodged all game. But he'll have to lane for just a little bit without Dada. It was forced out of lane a little bit earlier. He'll come back with a Ruby Crystal, so he'll be on his way to that Sight Stone, but a little bit behind, of course, Zero and UZI off of that gank. Heading back to base for a pickaxe buy. That's actually kind of interesting for UZI, because traditionally you want to save up for the big BF sword. Committing to the pickaxe means he will be going for that, I guess more traditional for him, Infinity Edge into Static Shiv build, instead of something more along the lines of like a Trinity Force first.
Yeah, and we didn't point that out in the previous game. When he was playing on Tristana in the first game, he picked up Static Shiv as the first item, and then when he played in the second game, he picked up the Infinity Edge. Turn around, so he goes for the damage first, which favors him a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, definitely will, especially versus a Kog'Maw who he knows is going to be building Trinity Force. That creates a huge damage disparity as, you know, San comes back to lane with a longsword, so big difference there, even though he does have the makings of that Phage. So Insec, because he got that 3-buff start, will have the blue buff on him, and it's going to last a little bit longer. Drug have a very slow start through the jungle. He ganked, didn't get a kill, so still no gold coming back from him on that, and so he's been forced to sit in the jungle, whereas guys like Insec, you can see, hovering around that mid lane, just looking to help Corn keep that pressure on.
Yeah, Insec is always there, but still no successful gank from him as of yet. Actually, Drug didn't really pull off a successful gank either, so we are waiting for the big first blood to happen. And maybe the dragon pressure. We have a little bit of wards around this dragon area, so maybe the teleports maybe into a big team fight, but it's not EDG in the game. We have OMG versus Starhorn, so... Well, Insec, he's the guy that needs to make things happen.
Alright, well, Starhorn is specific. Oh, there's actually Cola going in there. He gets him stunned underneath the turret. Turret shot will hit. Cola ulting in there. Going's in a little bit of trouble if he wants to go for the dive, but he'll stay safe and sound. Both ultimates used by top laners. Still nobody going down.
Nobody going down, and I don't really expect anyone to go down too quickly up there in the top lane. And still a little bit of aggression is still healthy. They're feeling each other out. They have some weaknesses. The other one will strike.
At least in traditionally a blind champion with a first item Sight Stone, maybe helping to limit that disability. And now with Insec up in the top lane, Going's going aggressive, but it's the worst time he could possibly pick to do that. Leap strike back to a minion, and a miss on the Sonic Wave. No way Insect's getting in onto Drug, so...
Yeah, he had the minion wave just coming into the lane, so even though it wasn't the greatest idea to jump in, he had the means to come back.
Well, that was, you know, now that I think about it, Going realized that he had a minion wave coming up, so he might have gone aggressive right there, knowing that if he needed to escape, the minion wave is there for his escape route, so might have been actually a very intelligent time to go up, knowing that he had his escape.
Oh, and Korn in the middle lane is still doing quite well. Keeping up in CS against the Ziggs is always a good thing, but haven't seen a lot happen in the middle. Cool gets a little bit of poke.
Insect continuing to put the pressure on this blue buff. He is not going to give this one to Drug. Again, really trying to deny that, not only from Drug, but also, keep in mind, taking it away from Cool. But now leaping in, there's Drug who will get it. He's going to dunk down onto Insect. Flashes over the wall. Insect's going down. Now Cola trapped in there. He'll be the next one to flash over the wall. Has to get away there, but Going. He's going to jump over. Gets a nice stun, but oh, Drug, he's going down underneath the turret. The overload comes in. It's the auto attack for Korn. He'll pick up the blue buff one way or another. He gets it out with a kill.
Wow, Korn. That was a fortunate kill for Starhorn, actually, because Drug didn't pull off the EQ combo. He just used the Dragon Strike. There was no Demacian standard going out.
He missed the Demacian standard. You gotta have both parts. That's why they call it a combo. So, Death Sentence missing the bottom lane, keeping the action up down there. But yeah, blue buff. There's a few ways you can steal blue buff. You can take it off the buff, you can take it off the jungler, or you can, well, like I said, yeah, just kill him. And there it is on Korn. Not one, but two buffs. Red buff on there too. So Korn right now in a very, very strong spot. Cool should be able to still lane by just, you know, going for the AFK wave clear. But big advantage there for Korn. Death Sentence lands on a UZI. They flip him backwards and an immediate flash out. Unbreakable comes out from Zero. And San's still dishing out the damage. But look at him turn things right back around. He's going to force the flash back from Dada. Teleports coming down from the top lane. Going. Will he be here in time? It's Drug in the front lines. And now Going in there. Gets the stun out.
Cola's not there.
Immediately kicked backwards. Yeah, like you said, Cola. He's got TP, but the call is not made to send him down there. Stays top lane. Continues the push.
Oh, I really thought that someone is going to go down there on the team of Starhorn, but they managed to stay alive, so a great thing for them. And Korn, he gets the blue buff steal from the jungler, as he said, so that means OMG didn't get a single blue buff in this game. And that was the case in the previous game too. So yeah, they have a great advantage there. Cool. Ziggs needs a blue buff.
A blue buff, but I mean, he has a chalice, so he's gonna have a lot of mana regen coming in anyway, so it's not the worst thing. Of course, it does really help with the cooldown reduction coming in a little bit earlier on, but of course he's got the Fiendish Codex for that, so he's got a mini blue buff on it. But like you said, yeah, definitely a big buff to have early on for a mid lane Ziggs. Starhorn, they'll start out this dragon. The 11 minute mark, making a wish, seeing if they can grab a dragon off the back of that, and they will. They don't even need Dragon Balls to make a wish off of that, so Korn will come down for some moral support and help his team take, once again, the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. The teleport was used by Going, but not by Cola, so OMG should have gone for this dragon after the fight. They didn't, and that gave Starhorn an easy dragon attempt right now. They come out quite massively on top in gold.
I'm not sure why Cola didn't teleport down bottom lane. Starhorn might have been able to turn that around, but instead just saying, hey, stick up top lane and get an advantage. The only issue is that he doesn't actually have an advantage. Like I guess he has the teleport advantage now, but he's even in CS, and Going's going to outscale him. Turning on the ultimate, Cola does have his Dragon's Descent of his own, but backing off means that Going will not have his ult should Cola decide to go in.
But Cola is level 9 and Going is level 8, so we have Cola with the level 5 skill.
Oh, Going actually dodging away from that Dragon's Descent. He'll be able to run away. Insect 9 even going to try for this, the Sonic Wave, so nice escape once again from the gank.
I think that Cola just mispredicted where Going is going to be standing, because Going didn't really even sidestep it. He was just standing next to the minion wave, not inside of it. Well, A bit of a failed gank, and once again, Insect cannot really land a successful
The
pressure.
culling down in the bottom lane onto Dada. Dada is not unbreakable, and he will go down relatively fragile there in that regard.
But there's Drug.
Dash in from Drug, but he's turning right back around. Zero is still very, very weak, but UZI's got a ton of damage. Mega Inferno Bomb is coming in onto Zero. Not enough, but it's San with a Biocane Barrage, taking him down at long range.
Wow, that's so unfortunate for Zero. He tried to sidestep the Mega Inferno Bomb, and in the end he even got caught by this one, and then by the Bioarcane Barrage, because he hesitated for just a second.
So a nice last-second snipe kill. Zero would have actually lived from that Mega Inferno Bomb. That would have been horrifying to see him get hit and then just go down immediately. No knock-up on Insect, and Insect's actually going to re-engage on the Drug. He's got Corn coming around the other side. Corn will pop his Ghost there, but needs to actually use it defensively to run away. Gets hit there by the Void Ooze, so slowed down for a second, but he still has some move speed. Back away.
Yep, no mana on San at the moment, and Corn is even trying to re-engage. Not gonna happen in the end, but Insect finally gets something going. It's 1 kill, 1 assist. And it has the advantage in the jungle.
Oh, but Rise actually stuck around down there. They could see him on a ward, but placing that ward will mean the untimely demise of San. There's no one to capitalize off the damage from his Decathian surprise either. A nice stay there in the bottom lane for Corn, catching out San.
Yep, but there was no assist for UZI though, and they always want to get UZI fed. That's just the thing that Starhorn always want to get. However, Corn still doing quite well on this Rise, 201, and going up against 6.
Going might have actually made a very drastic mistake. He goes in to Shyvana, and Cole still got his ultimate, so he just dives right back onto Going and takes him out in the 1v1. Going misjudged that damage pretty severely. Not often you see such an accomplished Jax player and just top laner in general make a little bit of a mistake like that, but Cole makes him pay. And we'll go up 101 to the 0-1-0 score for Jax.
Yeah, and just as we said, that Jax is going to be stronger than Shyvana. Jax is going to get the damage, while Cola is just going to build up the tankiness. And in the end, it's Cola coming out on top. A great 1v1 fight right there in the top lane. And Starhorn, once again, they are getting whatever they want around the map. So that might break the curse of the blue side.
Well, keep in mind, one of the reasons you don't see Jax in maybe some other regions is that his early game and especially his scaling both got nerfed. His armor and health taken down a peg. So he's a lot weaker earlier on. So as far as, scaling up to be a late game monster, that doesn't happen for a while. So still something to think about as far as, Going's performance up there. Thought he was a little bit stronger, but Cola, they didn't think twice.
Oh yeah, and Starhorn do have the gold advantage right now. They have all the timers actually, because they just saw when this blue buff went down for OMG previously. And they have the timer on the dragon. They will be looking for these objectives. And now Cola can easily teleport down there, because he doesn't really care about losing a little bit of CS now that he came out on top of Going.
Big discrepancy between these top laners. Going's built nothing but damage, and Cola already has completed his Sunfire Cape. And while a lot of teams will actually gank the bottom lane in preparation for Dragon, we actually have a top lane gank here 1 minute before Dragon spawns. Insect knows that his presence on this top half of the map is actually kind of a liability, because even if he's successful at killing off Going, Drug can just walk to Dragon and might have enough of a presence to put enough pressure on to get it. So backing off the turret, Going and Drug. The culling in the mid lane. Cool is gonna flash away, doesn't go down. Like one more hit from there, but Insect's gonna ward jump, flash through the turret, gets the Dragon's Rage, and at least we'll try to get out alive.
Over the lantern from Dada.
Over the wall, gets the dunk down. Drug with a kill on Insect.
The re-engage from Starhorn.
Oh, big glacial fissure. Doesn't hit. So a little bit anticlimactic follow-up there from Starhorn. They will find a kill on the Cool.
Unfortunately, the glacial fissure missed, but they were going for the re-engage. They might have got some kills off of this one. We come back to the top lane where Cola has 2 levels advantage over Going right now. Don't think that Going stands a chance in this fight.
Now, that's exactly the way you play that lane as Shyvana. You use your tankiness, your incredible resilience to just fatigue the going out. But mid lane's where the struggle's at. San's gonna go down. Now Drug narrowly getting away, but he gets Rune Prism. The flash through. Uzi is going all the way deep behind double turrets. He got follow-up from Korn, and Cool will go down. No, Cool, he's trading it back. The turret shot, and he gets them both. Turns it back around. Cool. Look at the bodies on the floor, and he's letting them hit. Turns
and
it
they
around.
just showed the face of UZI. He's not happy at all, even though he got a triple kill.
Okay.
That shows us something.
Well, baby, it's a triple for UZI. But at the same time, you can't be too unhappy with diving 2 turrets just to pick up kills by yourself. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of follow-up after Korn landed the Rune Prism. You know, sure, he's got the flash follow-up. Let's get a replay of that fight and see what actually happens. So, Dada gets an early flay onto UZI, but he starts to take damage in the top lane. This is actually the fight that we didn't see. It was the 1v1 that didn't work out. But, now San gets hit up, and he's gonna get a 3-mana Cathian surprise here, which is actually pretty big. But here's where UZI makes the decision to just go all in by himself. With Korn forced to sort of follow him up, it's now up to Cool. He lands a huge Mega Inferno bomb, and even though he'll go down from Korn actually dodged that bouncing bomb, which probably would have won the fight for Cool and let him live. So very, very close, but Cool still able to find a couple of kills. Not sure where Insec is going. He decides he wants to double golems, and he's actually trying to get positioning onto Cool. He kicks him out of the culling, but right into all the damage, and off of a very mobile Lee Sin play, Insec helps UZI grab his, I forget which kill that is, but he has a bunch of them.
Yeah, that was a great play. And actually, 2 turrets went down after this fight in favor of Starhorn Royal Club. The one in the top lane, the one in the middle lane, and 3 kills for UZI. They're slowly ramping themselves up into a great lead. Oh, and we have Drug trying to go for the steal. And, well, nothing to do there. Getting out of here.
A little bit slow, and he's like, I'm gone. Takes the Thresh Lantern out. Dada 7 at least able to help out as far as the mobility department's concerned. We've seen him use that Lantern to convert on kills at least a couple times so far. So he's been in there and he's been effective, but I gotta say, his Thresh is just not on the same caliber as his Braum. And the first pick Jax instead of grabbing Braum for OMG, I'm not sure that's worth it. He's not doing very well at lane. It's sure the late game scaling's there, but with as well as the rest of the map is doing for Starhorn Royal Club, Going just may not get there in time.
Yeah, and that's just the first part of it. Dada 7 didn't get his Braum, so he's not really doing at his best. But on the other hand, we have Zero on Braum, and he's doing really well.
A little bit of a lull in the action. So for the time being, not a whole lot to talk about. Just a lot of ward presence, vision presence being put out there on the map, and maybe a few ward clears going on as well. Insect getting pulled closer to the blue buff. And crucially enough, I believe this is the first blue buff that Cool has gotten all game long. It's been a big focus from Starhorn to deny him that blue buff, to put pressure onto him. And while it has worked, he's negative in the score and he has missed out on this blue buff. He's starting to come back. He grabs 2 kills, a blue buff, and things are starting to look up for Cool.
Oh yeah, he finally got this blue buff. And Korn, he went for a Rise versus Ziggs, which shouldn't really work out so greatly for him. And he has a 3-1-4. He's already scaling with the Rod of Ages.
There's the Glacial Fissure out on the Sun. He's so slow and so low. Getting a stun out there by the concussive blows as well. Can he make it to the wall in time? No, goes down, but the dunk in will ensure that at least some of the damage from the Acathian Surprise goes down onto Insect. He safeguards over the wall, and he actually lives, but a death sentence now onto Korn. Korn's got so much damage onto Dada.
Mega Inferno Bomb.
Dada's actually going to flash away. Yeah, Mega Inferno Bomb is used, and it'll actually catch out Insect. So Insect dies. Korn forced to use that Seraph's Embrace, but all it's going to take is one more bouncing bomb. Gets absorbed there by Zero's Unbreakable. Korn makes it out alive.
And it's kind of an okay trade for Starhorn, but still, why do they go for all these extreme dives? They lose too much to it.
And actually a really good position there for OMG. They just come off of that blue buff, and I think that was actually the second blue buff. I believe I said it was the third, but I think it's blue buff number 2. They come off of that, rotate back towards the mid lane, and again, these dives from Starhorn are super aggressive, not necessarily paying off. This time around, it wasn't a turret dive, it was like a dive into their jungle. Insect paid the price.
Yeah, but still, it's way too deep into the base. OMG can just come back to the base, region up, and join the fight again. OMG going for a little bit of ward coverage around the Baron pit, and it's about time for Starhorn to start thinking about this Baron.
Vision being placed out there by Insec. Of course, he has, once again, we see the double Sightstone build out of both junglers, just trying to get a ton of vision out there on the map. Sweeper of the Baron pit for Starhorn actually doesn't kill the OMG ward in the back of it, so a little bit of a sloppy vision clear. Starhorn unable to clear it out of the Baron pit.
Yep, but they're still not really going for this Baron. You don't really need the pit 100% clean. Starhorn, they do have 3-1 in turrets. It's not too much. We had much more turrets down by this time in the previous game. So map pressure is just not there this time around, but still Starhorn in the lead. Should be able to win another fight and then try to get some objectives.
Now, once again, this is very quintessential of OMG's Game 1 team composition. I believe it's almost identical. OMG going for the scaling. And this is more of like a World Elite tactic, but with more fighting, where you just pick a super late game comp. If one hyper carry is not enough, you grab 2. If that doesn't do it, you grab 3. But is the scaling just not going to happen in time? Starhorn, they think about the Baron. Remember back to game number 2, and we'll back off in time. Of course, both solo laners, the top laners down in the bottom lane with teleport, should this Baron start to heat up.
Yeah, we do have the teleports, and Cola, I don't think I saw him use the teleport in this game as of yet.
Oh, big engage there. The box comes out. San's got a nice position in the back to deal damage from, and no focus onto the Kog'Maw. He's gonna get Dragon's Rage kicked away there by the Insect, but look at the pressure right back onto him. Cola, Insect, they're right on the back line. They blow Kog'Maw apart, is forcing Going to actually flash over the wall. And now off of that team fight win, it's a 3-for-2 exchange. Starhorn Royal Club set their sights on Baron.
But not a lot of help with Insect, and Cola, I don't think he can just tank this Baron up for all the time. And if they get it, it is going to be a huge advantage. Drug is already running there with the home guard boots. Not really going to be able to make it in time.
Yeah, that'll be the first Baron of the game for Starhorn Royal Club at the 25-minute mark. It's theirs, and they don't have to worry about it not being smited away. Actually, going. Thought twice about that. He's not going to go in just yet. Didn't have too much follow-up there from the rest of his team.
The question is, did they get the buff on Korn and Zero? I didn't really notice when they respawned, but I think that it was the plan. Yeah, Zero got it.
Uzi takes a bomb hit. That actually does about a quarter of his HP, so Cool still hitting like a truck, but is it the truck that they need? Is it a subcompact truck, or is it like a Mack truck? Cool. Death Cap completed. Much different build than Rise, of course, but Rise still with a big 4 items in his pocket, looking very, very strong for Korn.
Now Starhorn even take a dragon, so the gold lead is theirs. OMG, a little bit of a successful split push, but still it's not really going to give them this much of pressure. The outer top turret doesn't really give them the map control that they want, and usually all the action happens around the bottom lane. That's where Starhorn is looking for the engages.
Korn, he's we talked about the scaling and how these teams are going to progress into the late game. With as much of an early advantage as Starhorn has, not only has that helped Uzi, he's very far ahead in the 1v1 early game versus late game. He's right where he needs to be, but Korn as well. He's traditionally, a scaling champion that, uses the Tear of the Goddess, the Rod of Ages to all the stack up towards late game. He's hit his power spike a little bit early. Has a Seraph's Embrace, the Rod's all the way stacked up, and now Starhorn Royal Club are actually the ones pushing all the way through to the bottom 2nd tier turret. Insect's got the zone out there. He's actually tanking the turret, so a little bit of additional damage he didn't need to take. And now the sieging intensifies as OMG desperately try to wave clear to save their turret.
Got a lot of health though, so it's not like he suffered too much. Yep, Starhorn will want to siege for this turret. They do want to take it, and as I said, they need to get some fight and then start picking up objectives, because that's the most important thing. And if they don't take the turret, They want to get into the base of OMG, and OMG, they have the scaling. They just need to wait for Kog'Maw, Jackson, Ziggs to be the big monsters.
They'll get there, and honestly, if OMG can just hold out for another, 10 to 15, 5 to 10 minutes, I'll say you're going to get another item on all your champions, and especially the carries like Ziggs, super good at just throwing out wave clear, keeping the game progressing as long as possible. The culling in the mid lane, though, onto San. It'll take him down to half health, but he should still be able to defend that mid lane. Corn, though, is diving through the turret. The turret will fall. Look at that ghost pressure. Corn able to use it to push San back. Actually forces out his flash too, so San really scared of the Ryze.
Yeah, still, Starhorn got the turret. That already favors them a little bit. The next time they dive there, it's not going to be in the middle of two turrets. It's just going to be one turret available for OMG.
Now the idea here for OMG is that they're going to use Ziggs and Kog'Maw for incredibly good wave clear to keep Starhorn Royal Club from pushing into their base. And while they're off doing that, Going will be able to split push, get a ton of CS and experience there on his Jax, and then teleport in very strong to help them win the fight when Starhorn inevitably try to dive. The caveat for that is that Going's teleport is not up right now. It'll be down for another 15 seconds or so. Maybe 20. And when OMG tried to defend, even as a 5-man team, you can still see guys like Corn, like Insect, putting on so much pressure that it's giving Starhorn turrets.
Yep, definitely they are there with the damage, and they still have the Baron buff for a couple of seconds, so that's what gave them the power to bring the turrets down. And now Drugs needs to watch out to not get caught, because Starhorn, that's all that they need right now. They need to find a pick, and that will lead them to getting a great chunk of OMG's base.
Well, we shall see just how much that is. I honestly think that Starhorn are going to have a pretty big difficulty pushing into the actual base, but taking off these sort of low-hanging fruit, the outer turrets around the base, should be relatively easy. All they have to do is threaten the dive, and because Going's off to the side lane defending their actual base, might make it a little bit more difficult to teleport in, because I can promise you, if Going TP's in for a fight, sure, OMG might win that fight, but guys like Cola may actually decide to just keep the push going on, considering how low that bottom lane turret actually is.
And the hook connects onto Zero. Doesn't really do too much though, and that's the possibility of the turret. Taken down by Starhorn.
Yeah, just little by little, slow and steady wins the race. But who will win the race in this best of 5? It's a pretty long race to win. Yeah, I got it. But Starhorn are actually looking poised to put themselves up 2-1. Oh, Going is going to have that Blade of the Ruined King used onto him. Cola dodges away from the counter-strike, gets his Dragon Form on in. The descent is coming down. He's got Insect coming in from behind. Now there is Drug, the double kick right into one another. Going desperately trying to escape. He'll take the lantern out, but now it's Drug that's in trouble. All right, he makes it out alive, and an incredible escape there. Going managed to live. And OMG, now all they have to do is defend their base, which may be a little bit more difficult than just, Ziggs wave clearing everything.
That was a great kick into the Glacial Fissure. However, Going still staying alive. I was just looking at his inventory. He had no wards at all, so no ward leap strike was available. But Starhorn, they might take the first inhibitor turret of the game. Indeed.
Going very tanky. And actually, look at the dispersion here from Starhorn. They're saying, all right, we don't want to pressure this base so close to the respawn of both Dragon and Baron. So rather than go in right before this power spike from taking either one of those buffs, they'll just back off, play it safe, and most likely wait for the spawn of Baron here next turn.
Yep, and that will be the best thing for them. If they can overpower OMG, that will not want to give the Baron away for free, then it's a great way to try and win the game. Still, losing the members one by one is not really gonna work for Starhorn, because Zero just died in this fight. He needs to avoid the deaths. They just need to wait for an opportunity. However, this opportunity doesn't really show. That's the big thing. That's why Starhorn is just running around the map, not doing too much.
Things once again, this time onto the actual Baron, and it's not to go for the objective, just to wave clear and set up a very, very dominant kind of fortress. People don't think of like wards as walls, but it's definitely going to be good there. Bottom lane, though, Cola is trying to trade things back towards Going, and Going is actually destroying him. I'm not sure if that's why there's a pause here, but we are looking to fix some minor peripheral issues. I think UZI is actually the one having the issues. You can see the referees behind him talking.
Still, there is a fight going down in the bottom lane, and Going looks like he might finally win a fight against Cola.
Well, first he has to get past this pause, which may or may not be the most OP thing that we've seen all day. We're going to cut back to the players, so apparently it will take a little bit longer to update, but don't worry. Make sure to update all the info and make sure everything's up to date before we hop back into the game. A game that hopefully will have given us, or will have given OMG the keys to turning this game around.
Oh yeah, and if Starhorn take this game, they will be much closer to winning this best of 5 series. They will get the blue side the next game. They will get the first pick. So it might be the game that they need to win the whole series.
Alright, well, a pause coming out. You can see OMG looks of concern, especially on the drug. He is very, very focused on bringing this back. And, you know, Going, no matter what situation he's in, he always seems super confident, really happy, and he's on Jax, which is one of his better champions. He'll able to leap strike out from underneath the turret. Doesn't even take a shot, so good on ya. Takes down the turret in revenge. He's like, take that turret. And it's the 3rd turret of the game for OMG. So they are starting to come back in objectives. Still actually pretty far behind.
And it's the 2nd turret that Going got from his split pushing. It's a great thing done by Jax, but still, they need a little bit more. They need Cool to get going, because Cool was usually the big part in OMG's victories.
Oh man, a little bit of an overextension there by Drug. He's gonna get the culling on him, but a Golden Aegis just barely keeping him alive. Unfortunately, my vocal cord's not in the alive department. We'll see if Starhorn Royal Club can take down Baron number 2.
Oh, the Baron is quickly going down, and with Drug being so low, I don't see an opportunity for OMG to try and steal it. There goes the Mega Inferno Bomb, not really doing too much. Starhorn, they got the Baron, but they still cannot really find a fight. They cannot find the picks. And, well, they will try to push the turrets down, but that still is going to be a tough task, and they cannot let the game draw longer and longer, because there is a Jackson Kog'Maw on the other hand. And they had some problems with closing the games out. Now, they need to shine.
Yeah, and that's actually the problem. Like, when you pick an early game AD carry like Lucian, unless you just absolutely destroy things, the scaling happens sooner or later. And San is starting to get those items out, but of course, with such a dominant performance from UZI, you can see he's actually sitting on a full build, with the exception of that Mercurial Scimitar and Elixirs on. So he is narrowly approaching as strong as this Lucian will ever be. Whereas Sans Kog'Maw, he let's put it this way, he's got a long way to go. Needs that Last Whisper and company to come up with his final build, which he is definitely not at just yet.
Yep, just 1 kill on San. Definitely a little bit of a different thing from what we have seen from him in the previous game. So he was sitting on 9 kills, 4 deaths. It's definitely a better performance on this Kog'Maw, but still, he can make it happen. Once again, we do have UZI with almost 100 CS advantage, but it is San. He definitely knows how to come back into the game.
Pushing intensifies down the mid lane, and Starhorn making a very, very convincing bid for their push down here. Of course, living artillery and Ziggs damage going to make it very difficult to finally grab any sort of advantage to push through this wave coming up. You'll see San throw out his ultimates. Cool's got the wave clear, and unless Starhorn are willing to tank this and fight, should be a relatively strong defense.
Going is on the split push. They need to act right now.
Oh, and here is how they're acting. They're to force Cool to flash, to get all the way out to the back of that fight, but Going, he's not TPing back. He's taking the base, and he'll actually get most of it. Starhorn Royal Club, they don't find a kill, but they will take down the inhibitor. Going, he's still going and looking for the inhib.
He will get the turret down, but can he make it in time for the inhibitor? That is the big question. Teleport comes in from Cola.
Oh, and going to trade the inhibs out. That's actually incredibly impressive. War jumps back away. There's the Blade of the Ruined King active. He'll be trying to teleport himself back to safety, and he gets out alive. Going.
Yuzi gets a kill.
Yeah, Yuzi will find the kill off onto Dada. I'm a little bit more impressed that Going actually was able to make it out of there alive. After, blowing all CC that Cola had, no dragons to send ult to stop his TP.
Still, Starhorn did get the kill, and they have a little bit of an advantage on this push. Can they really make it happen? That was a great play by Going indeed. He did take down the inhibitor, which gives a lot to OMG. It gives them a lot of hope. Still, it is Starhorn with the Baron buff knocking on the base.
Definitely, without question. We've got 2 peak wards actually on both sides of that banana bush, and I don't actually think that's an accident. I think that's to scout out for any random wards that won't be visible from the other side of that bush. So a little bit of a big investment. Actually, the top ward might not actually even be in the bush, so I might have just done that analysis for nothing. But we'll see how that pays off. It is still a lot of vision control invested in being able to stay safe and unseen near the OMG base.
13k gold lead in favor of Starhorn. That is a huge lead, but they still cannot really close the game out. And at the moment, they are standing even with OMG because the inhibitor in the top lane went down to Going. So they don't really have a big map pressure advantage.
And like I said, it's 37 minutes into the game. At some point, OMG are going to emerge with hyper carries that, well, Starhorn Royal Club just may not be able to deal with. At this point in the game, Cola can actually do fairly well against Going, so they've got their top lane intact. But Starhorn might be facing some discrepancies as Cool Ziggs starts to come into his own.
They have the Mercurius Scimitar on the UZI right there, so that's a great item to pick up. We don't usually see it. The games are quite quick in the Chinese LPL.
And OMG are probably they're regarded as having the strongest individual solo laners between Cool and Going. But at the same time, the instability in their roles has been hurting them a little bit, as the games are a little bit more volatile than you'd expect. Game number 2, especially with all that camping onto Cool, limited his roam pressure and really just took him out of the game. So one game's a bad experience, the other game's actually okay here for OMG. They are on the back foot. Do have to defend their base, but they are still in this game.
Yeah, however, Korn sitting on this rise 4, 2, and 6 is definitely a big thing. But they cannot really utilize it. They are just looking for the picks, looking for the kills, cannot really find it. But there's Going versus Insec.
Oh, 1v1 turns into a 2v2. It's a 3v3 now as Zero comes in from the side. Mega Inferno Bomb snipes him down, and Cool grabs the kill. An excellent bomb out there to the back. That's the second time this game that he's done that. Killed off Insec.
Yeah, and that's the second time this game that OMG get a kill for nothing. And Starhorn, if they start losing this, the Jax and Kog'Maw are going to be closer and closer to getting really strong.
Hashtag LPL big plays, getting that kill over the waves OMG. Now, that is Mega Inferno Bomb down, so it won't be able to be used for wave clear, but that's totally fine with everyone on OMG because now they have some breathing room. They have some time to farm out their lanes, sit back, spend their gold, and make sure that on the next push from Starhorn Royal Club, they are able to mount a much more potent defense.
And look at the UZI. He has a huge farm lead right there, but he already has a full build.
Oh, Zero getting caught out. He throws out the Glacial Fissure. Sana's in a lot of trouble, but look at that. Was that the lantern that blocked out Cola from Dragons descending in? Or was it? No, it was a flay. It was a flay by Dada. All right, so at least we know what that was, because Cola got denied diving that back line. Looked a little bit hilarious. I was like, all right, what stopped that from happening? I think it was the flay from Dada 7.
But look at the movements from Starhorn. They know that they took down the jungler from OMG. That gives them a nice shot at the Baron, which is already alive. And Going is just recalling. They will not be contesting for this one. OMG instead chooses to go for the dragon. That's a questionable play.
Well, they will be able to get the dragon, but at the same time, yeah, that whole like Baron area kind of thing, somewhat neglected. So that'll be a Baron buff for Starhorn Royal Club. Maybe a little bit of a worse trade now. Going. Not sure where he is going. He actually gets creep blocked there, and Zero's gonna safeguard or stand behind me to the creeps themselves. Going actually remarkably tanky. He's taking up the entire team, and he almost gets the inhibitor off of that suicide too. So almost, unfortunately, not close enough. And he will go down.
That is huge from Starhorn. They get the kill and they ping onto the inhibitor and then onto the Nexus. They want to win this game right now. Starhorn, they killed the Jax, so that already is a big step in the right direction. But can they really pull it off in a 4v4? Because Cola has to stay in the top, has to defend this inhibitor that is really low on health.
Inhibitor, no Nexus turret to defend it. Insect pushing in. He's got Zero there for the big tanky front line. And the carry is just DPSing that. That is one dead Inhibitor. Add insult to injury. Cool's actually going to teleport in.
20 seconds to go going spawn.
Yep, the gang's all here looking to take down the bottom lane turret. Too much damage and it's going down too quickly. No engage from Drug. Might be looking for Cataclysm, but nobody grouping up for it. Has to be
going as home guard boots. You'll be coming in quite quickly. Can they take the inhibitor?
1. He's coming in. Mega Inferno Bomb actually doesn't do all that much damage. It's blocked out by the Unbreakable. Like you said, going teleporting in, or home guarding in. After respawning, unable to find any picks.
Unfortunately, unable to find any picks, but he has the teleport. However, he didn't put any wards down in the area of this inhibitor. He cannot really go for the split push. And Starhorn cannot really recall as of yet. But the minions doing a great job in the bottom lane for OMG.
Oh my gosh, OMG. Once again, they are hanging on for dear life, desperately putting all of their hopes in this late game scaling from their team comp. You got a Frozen Heart Banshee's Veil with double offensive items for Jax. So going is a monster right now. Same things could be said for both Cool and maybe San, although he is still a couple items off of his full build. Definitely needs to keep that gold coming in.
Well, 15,000 gold difference, that is the number. And that is a huge number, but still, Starhorn, that is the greatest problem throughout the whole split long. They cannot close the games out. And OMG, it just takes one mistake to come back. So we have the Frozen Hearth on Korn right now, and a Frozen Hearth on Zero.
Exactly.
They're looking to shut down going completely.
There's a total of 3 Frozen Hearts here, but of course, a lot more area of effect coverage there on Starhorn, as they will have 2 of them now. Pushing Intensifies there onto the top lane turret. It's the last outer turret remaining for OMGs, so they're gonna have to make this one count. It's do or die when they fight here. They can back off and fight underneath their double Nexus turrets, but they have to keep Starhorn from just slowly but surely taking their base.
Well, 3 inhibitors down is already a lot of pressure. 6 super minions coming in every 30 seconds. That is going to hurt. Even if you have a Jax and a Kog'Maw, you don't have much chances of defending against this one, but there we go.
Oh, Drug starting to get DPS there. Top lane inhibitor will go down. Bounce backwards from Cool, trying to save his life. But now San is forced to kite right backwards. He's actually going to DPS Cola down, and it's remarkably effective at killing off the tank. Cola is dead. Use the eyes dead as well. The turnaround there. Insect desperately trying to kill off the base turret. He's going to take it down. He's narrowly trying to take out the base, the Nexus. Not going to go out. Dragon's Rage keeps Insect alive.
There's Zero.
OMG defend! They keep their base up! Insect gonna get scouted out there. Mega Inferno Bomb is not available, so Insect should be safe and sound. And somehow, OMG hang on. Fight another day.
OMG, they got almost a full ace. The death timers are huge. We still have 50 seconds on Zero, but they cannot push. There is no possible way of doing that. 2 super minions in every single lane is just gonna stop them completely. That is so unfortunate for OMG. They had the chance of coming back into this game, but 3 inhibitors down is too big.
Well, we aren't back into the game, so, you know, at least there's that going for us. And as San goes, I feel like so goes the team. Even though he had not the greatest laning phase, look at Go going. He and Trug, they're going for the back door. They're gonna get the inhibitor, and what's happening? Insect's gonna kick Go going back towards the turret, and they're just gonna be able to jump their way back out. Drug has got a standard combo, so he's gonna be able to get out alive, and Go going might be able to just take this lantern out there. Insect might have dove a little bit too deep. He's gonna get bounce housed around, and he goes down. It's an inhibitor and a kill. And OMG can back off for Baron in a minute and a half, but oh, their base,
No,
the
they
super
can't.
minions, they have to get back to their base. They're gonna lose the Nexus. Oh my god, OMG are gonna lose the game to the super minions. The Winions end the game. They take the Nexus, and OMG. Little bit of a careless loss there at the end. Starhorned Royal Club pick up their second victory of the series.
Oh, they wanted to go for this inhibitor. I think they wanted to go for a base race, but it was just 2 members of their team going for the inhibitor and the rest pushing the middle lane. But they didn't do anything to the other lanes. And as you said, the Winions, they take the game.
OMG a little bit silly there on their mistake at the end, but that does give Starhorn Royal Club the 2-1 lead, and that will put them 1 game away from advancing to the Grand Finals. Of course, that will be coming up tomorrow with coverage live from the Twitch TV studios, so excited for that. Hope you guys are too. We have to finish this series first, so stick around. It'll be a little bit of an extended break while we do some giveaways here on the LPL stream, or on the Chinese stream live in their